It was last year when I thought of exploring the invisible web, deep web, and the dark web for the first time. I was really curious about it, being a computer science and engineering student, but I didn't know how to access it. So I searched for a while and then got the required resources ready. After entering the dark web and surfing for about 10 to 15 minutes, I found a web page with a lot of onion URLs of dark websites. So I decided to visit some random URLs, as there were hundreds of them. That time, I had no idea that this could cost me a night's sleep. I visited the first URL, and it was a website selling drugs. I knew that I could encounter this kind of stuff as I had read about Silk Road during the research I did about cryptocurrencies. Then I visited the second random URL, and it was a website for hiring contract killers. All the killers were listed with their code names and their skills, kills, success rate, cost of hiring, etc. were mentioned alongside like the image below. At this time I got a little nervous, but then proceeded towards the third random URL. This one took me to a website selling human organs, where various organs were listed along with their base price, and one could enter the quantity and then order them. After that, the fourth random URL led me to a website teaching torture techniques. There were many videos in each torture technique of people belonging to different gender and age groups. Those videos were too cruel to watch and were of hours length. In those videos, maybe the kid died in the end. I wasn't able to watch them all the way through. At this point, I was kind of feeling disgusted and took a break from my computer. Then, after about 15 to 20 minutes, I proceeded towards the fifth random URL, and it led me to a website featuring illegal and banned porn. The next few random URLs were the same. All the websites were featuring the illegal and banned porn, and were requesting users to buy it. After this, I was thinking of exiting the dark web, but just thought to give it one last try, and if the next website also comes to feature the same content, I'll quit. Then came the worst part, my ninth random link, and it took me to a website which was teaching how to cook people, keeping them alive to the maximum extent. Not just this, but it had the different procedures to cook people based on their geographical location, age, gender, build, etc. Along with that, there are videos attached in each procedure. I wasn't able to play any of them, as even their thumbnails were disgusting as hell. I don't understand why anyone would do that. This thought crossed my mind and I quit the dark web. After this, I was traumatized for a few days. I've accessed dark web many times after that for research purposes and just out of curiosity, but that was the worst. When I explored the dark web, I quickly became bored with the hitman websites and illegal gun sales websites. I wanted to know if there was something truly interesting on the dark web, and I wasn't interested at all in the stuff that the place is littered with, so I googled for lists of the top of sites to visit. One of these sites were a bug chaser. There was no description, so I assumed it must have something cool to do with insects. Was I wrong? It is about gay men who share their stories of how they actively tried to contract HIV. The idea seemed to be that once you have it, you can stop worrying about getting it, and you can go about with reckless abandon. That was the sickest, most depraved stuff that I've ever read. I never felt the urge to explore the dark web again. Maybe this isn't the most horrific video on the internet, but it's horrific to me because I have a personal connection to it. It was a video of some Indian loan sharks killing someone's son because his family couldn't afford to pay off their debt. In the video, the naked boy is pinned to the bed by the loan sharks and force-fed some poison. I don't dare to imagine why he was naked and what they did to him before this. He cries and begs for them to let him go, and they just laugh. Then, as the poison begins to take effect, his body convulses as he writhes. Foam comes out of his mouth before he twitches and dies. His empty eyes stared up at the ceiling. They kicked and toyed with his naked corpse. Then the loan sharks seem satisfied and pick up his limp body and bring it to the town center, where he is displayed for the townspeople to see. My uncle owned a morgue in a neighboring town, and I was there when they brought the body in and laid him out on the table. An autopsy was not done and no charges were pressed because the family was too poor and the government too corrupt. I was in charge of washing his body, and I couldn't help but look at his helpless face and lifeless eyes. He did nothing wrong, but he suffered a pointless death. To make matters worse, while I was washing him, I noticed bruises around his genitals and rear, confirming my worst fears. Things like this happen so often that they are simply forgotten. There's no one to make change. I still know where to find the video. Once in a while, I watch it again and just look at his dead eyes as he lays on the bed.